everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a video sort of following up from last week. So if you've seen my video last week, it was on baby-led weaning. It was kind of a big moan about how I was finding it really difficult and I was struggling and getting stressed out and I didn't know what to do, and it was a bit of a cry for help really. And since then I have received so many messages from you guys on YouTube and Instagram, just giving me bits of advice and guidance and stuff that worked for you and stuff that didn't work, and really being incredibly helpful and supportive and reassuring. So thank you very much for that. And what I wanted to do this week was kind of put all of those tips together so that if you are looking to start weaning with your baby, you've kind of going to benefit from my failure, I suppose. Like 10 simple tips, an idiot's like dummy guide to weaning. So yeah, number one is understand when your baby is ready. So the current guidance is 6 months, but I know a lot of people choose to wean early at 4 months. What I found was if you're going to do baby-led weaning, and to just define that for you if you're not too sure, baby-led weaning is basically they eat what you eat, there's no pureeing, you just literally give them whatever you're eating at that time as long as it's not salty or have honey in it and any things that they're not allowed to eat. So you can start off with like carrots or broccoli florets or sweet potato sticks, whereas traditional weaning or puree weaning is literally like you take vegetables or whatever it might be and you completely puree them up and you spoon feed your baby. So they're the two main camps at the moment. So the reason that we decided to wait until 6 months was kind of for two reasons. One, because we're doing baby-led and I wanted him to be able to sit up properly, and that is a prerequisite for doing baby-led. Your baby has to be able to sit up properly and therefore swallow properly if you're going to do bigger chunks of food. And the other reason was because we were going on holiday when he was 6 months old, and I wanted to properly try when I had 2 weeks with help, with my mum there and my husband there, in a hot climate where I could strip him off and feed him fresh fruit and veg in just his nappy. So they were the reasons that we waited till 6 months. It really is your choice. Do your own research. If you're doing purees, I imagine, and you've got a really hungry baby, I imagine you could probably start earlier, but we went with the NHS guidance and we decided to wait until 6 months. The second thing is to start with one meal and pick a meal that works for you. So traditionally people would pick breakfast to start off with, but what my health visitor said was, by all means, like if tea time works for you better, go with tea time. Just pick one meal and go with that. The general rule of thumb is that by week 1 you kind of have incorporated one meal, by week 2 you're doing 2 meals, and by week 3 you're doing 3 meals, which means that by week 4, which would be coming up to the 7-month stage at the very latest, if you started at 6 months, they would be kind of on 3 meals a day. Tip number 3 is keep it simple. So I thought that I would be having to make baby fish pie, baby lasagna, quinoa bites, and all these different things that you find in these baby books and these baby cookbooks that are great for inspiration. But Finn is just as happy if I put an apple in front of him for breakfast. And at this stage he's not getting a massive amount of his nutrition from the food that he's eating because he's still drinking bottles and getting his nutrients from that. So really just keep it simple. Try not to overthink it. Try not to spend too much time making things out of the ordinary for them. I understand if you are pureeing, it's slightly different, but again, do simple one taste foods. So puree an apple, puree a pear or a couple of pears and then freeze them. I think I was definitely overthinking it and looking at all of these Instagram posts with like the fox head plate that had like a words spelt out in their lunch and little animals made of their faces on that plate and wanting to make it Instagrammable, and actually that's not what they need at all. They need a banana or an apple or something really simple that they can hold and chew on, especially if the little teeth are sore. So apples have been great this week because he is cutting a tooth, so a cold apple, I take the skin off and he just gnaws on that and he absolutely loves it. Thank you for dribbling on me. Tip number 4 is don't be afraid if they don't drop bottles. So Finn is 7 months and he is eating 3 meals a day and a decent amount of food at those meals, and he's still on 5 7-ounce bottles a day as well. He is perfectly proportioned, as you can see from this terrible outfit that he's wearing. He is in the 50 percentile for his weight and height, so he's absolutely fine, and he's not dropped any bottles yet. I'm just going to literally go with him with that. So yeah, don't be afraid and don't be worried if the first thing that they do isn't drop the bottles. They still are getting food, but it's just whatever's right for them. Number 5, meal prep. I went a little bit crazy with this, as you will have seen from last week's video, and I had like 4 different cuisines on the go and was trying to stock up, and I found it really stressful and really kind of overwhelming, expensive as well. Like I was going out and buying crazy amounts of food to meal prep. And then I had lunch with my friend Nick this week, and she was just like, you are overthinking this massively. She said, I literally do a vegetable a week. So she said, I'll do like carrots one week, and I will get the little Tommy Tippy freezer pots that I'll link down below. I haven't got any yet, I've just ordered some off Amazon actually. And she'll fill half of one of those with carrot. And then next week she'll do parsnip, the week after she'll do sweet potato. And she will literally just store them in the freezer and then take 2 cubes out in the morning and blitz them roughly together. If you puree, that's great. If not, you can literally just chop them up and then freeze them, which is what I do. And add a bit of chicken to them, or a bit of ham, or a bit of tuna. And then you've got a good to go meal. Like, that is what we mean by a meal prep. I made pancakes, like 2 ingredient pancakes, so just 2 eggs and a banana, and I did a batch of those, and I have frozen them, and then I just whack them in the microwave for 30 seconds in the morning, give him a pancake. Great for little amounts of mess, by the way, pancakes, and he's happy. Try not to waste too much food. If we have tea at night and there's a little bit left over, I put it in a Tupperware box and we use it the next day. Tip number 6 is eat with them. So I always try to eat at least breakfast and tea with Finn. Like I said, I'm not a massive lunch person, and we sit down together and we eat. If he is resisting picking something up and eating it, what I have found helped, and I think my friend Anne from home has suggested this to me, is in front of them just sort of pretend or have a little bite yourself. So go like, and if you're eating your tea with your spoon or with your knife and fork, and you're trying it, it encourages them to try it as well. Actually building a sort of bench in our kitchen at the moment to make sure that we've got a proper space to eat, but try and sit down with them if you can. Tip number 7, don't stress about the mess. So irrefutably, baby-led weaning is messy. It is really messy, to the point where my husband said to me on day 3, do we have to do this? And I said, what? And he was like, well, you know, teach him how to eat. Bottles are much more convenient and less messy. And I was like, no, we do have to teach him how to eat. And I can see how, you know, our house is a really clean house, my husband's a really clean person, so am I, and it's soul destroying to have to clean up 3 times a day. So you basically wake up, feed them, they get covered in food, their clothes get covered in food, and your whole house gets covered in food, and then you clean them up, and then a couple of hours later you're doing exactly the same thing all over again. Sorry, he's just down there, he's absolutely fine. So the other thing that I've had advice on from our health visitor is try not to wash their hands or their faces or wipe them as they're going along eating, because what tends to happen then is that they get a sort of complex about being clean while they're eating. You will end up with spaghetti bolognese in your ceiling. You just have to accept that. A lot of people have bought old shower curtains and put them down on the floor to sort of like contain the mess. I haven't done that because we have a wooden floor, so I literally just get down on my hands and knees with a floor wipe after he's eaten. We've got one of the long sleeve bibs from Jojo, my man baby, and it's great while we're out for protecting his clothes, but just accept that his clothes are going to get ruined, your clothes are probably going to get ruined, and you are going to be cleaning your floor 3 times a day. That is the way it is, I'm afraid, and if you want them to be civilised eaters later on, you've got to let them explore now. What I didn't realise is that 90% of the first couple of months of eating for them is just exploring and playing, and they learn through play. So try not to stress about the mess, and if you do stress, go and follow Mrs. Hutch, the new lady that's been on This Morning This Week, about cleaning, and after he's finished eating you can do all those wonderful things with all those wonderful products that have names. That's my advice. Tip number 8, and then this is just a general tip if you're a parent, have patience. Have patience. So it can take the kid 45 minutes to eat 2 tablespoons of food. I've done the thing where I thought, oh well, he's not hungry today or he doesn't want that, and whipped it away, and then on other days I've left it there for 45 minutes, and on minute 44 he's picked it up and put it in his mouth. So I think it is just about giving them time. Unless he's absolutely kicking off and screaming, I try not to take him out of the high chair. It is frustrating, but they will get there in the end. Tip number 9 is really handy because I didn't know you could do this and I was boiling water and waiting for it to cool for a very long time, is by 6 months they can now, according to NHS, have tap water, which is amazing and saves a lot of hassle, so much easier. Still can't have mineral water, so if you're out and you grab a bottle of water, that has a really high salt content in it, so be careful with that, but tap is absolutely fine. And my final tip, which I should have took myself quite some time ago, is don't stress. Like, the thing that I found really stressful was that I had a routine down. I knew when he needed his bottles. They were super simple to take out with us. I knew exactly how to do that, and then when we've thrown food into the mix, it's become a little bit hectic and it needs a lot more preparation and forethought and planning and prepping, and that has stressed me out. But what I should have done is just enjoy it and let him mess and play in food and sort of discover taste for himself. Don't be stressed if all your kid eats for the first couple of weeks is toast like he did. They really like toast and it's easy for them to hold and you can put different things on it. If you buy the Ella's Kitchen pouches and they just eat those, that's fine. There's nothing in them except all organic good vegetables. I've looked. If you choose to make everything from scratch yourself, that's amazing. If you do pureeing, wonderful. As I've said with breastfeeding and bottle feeding, fed is best. You just have to feed them. You just have to teach them to eat. It doesn't matter. As long as you're not feeding them McDonald's every day of the week, they will be fine.